You're listening to Dear Strategy, where we answer all of your questions on product and business strategy. And now, here's your host, Bob Caparelli.
Welcome to another episode of Dear Strategy, where we answer all of your questions about product and business strategy. Real questions from real people in real companies, just like yours. Welcome back, strategy creators, to another great episode. Glad to have you back as always. Before we get started, again, another shout out for our sponsor, company that I work for and founded, Strategy Generation Company. We provide training and workshops and tools and resources to strategy creators all over the world, companies large and small in all different types of industries. We hope you go to the website strategygeneration.com and check out all that we have to offer, particularly if you are a person that works inside of a large or medium-sized corporation. You want a company to come in, help you with your product and business strategies. The way we do that is we train teams of product managers, business managers, marketing managers, whatever kind of strategies you're looking for, train people on how to actually develop those strategies and then help them develop strategies for their products. It's a workshop unlike any other you've taken, I guarantee it. So please check it out and know that you'll gain a lot from it if you decide to take advantage of it. Again, strategygeneration.com. So with that said, let's go ahead and get to today's question, which is, Dear Strategy, how do you communicate strategy to the rest of the organization with a small, newly formed team on a previously languishing product? Okay, lots of stuff going on there. And I think really interesting because a couple of parts to it. First is the team is small, right? Indicating that it doesn't have a lot of resources, maybe not a lot of visibility. So maybe people aren't asking about this particular strategy a lot. Second part of this, of course, is that it's new, right? Newly formed team. So, maybe people aren't as, let's say, familiar with the rest of the company, or, there's not a lot of eyeballs on this team yet. And then the third part of it, of course, is that there's a product that was previously languishing, meaning that it was not doing so well. So I'm getting the impression that, a product that was either ignored or, maybe not paid attention to for some period of time, not doing very well. They thought it needed a boost, so they put a team around it and said, do something with it. But maybe it's not so high visibility. Maybe it's not so big. And so the idea is, well, we're going to need more resources, need more people to know about it, need more people to help. How do we get the airtime to be able to do that? So really specific situation. What I really want to say on this is that I don't know that my answer is going to be too much different if it's a very large and highly visible product or if it's a very small and not so visible product like the one here. The idea is that you do have to have some cadence of communication. Now, the reason I say my answer won't be so much different is obviously if you have a big high visibility product, the communication is going to be forced. What does that mean? Well, the CEO or the executives or someone else, they're going to be asking for updates on a regular basis, right? Give us some report out, whether it's monthly, whether it's quarterly, even if it's in the elevator, in the lunchroom, you're going to be asked about it a lot because it's got a lot of visibility. And so you're going to have the opportunity all the time to be talking about this. You still need to have your story straight. You still need to make sure you have your strategy. You still have to make sure all the things that we've talked about in many other episodes of this show, that you have all your ducks in a row so that when you are asked, that you can tell a proper story, right? And in the blog, I'll go ahead and refer back to some of the episodes and blogs where we talked about how do you develop your story using the strategic arc and some other tools that we have. The point is that, assuming you have all of those things, you have your story laid out, you are going to be asked about your strategy on a regular basis if it's a high visibility product. If it's not a high visibility product, then you're probably not going to be asked about it, and you have to proactively, talk to people about it. Well, the reason that I'm saying that my answer isn't going to be different is because I don't think you should wait for people to ask about your strategy, right? In my world, I don't really care, right, if someone's asking me or not. I want to proactively communicate my strategy to the rest of the company no matter what. And so that's why in my world, my answer is not going to be different. And my answer is that you have to market your strategy the same exact way that you would market a product. So in this case, look at your strategy as a product because you need other people to consume it, right? And market it the same way you would a product. When you're marketing a product to the outside world, you're essentially marketing your strategy, right? I mean, What is that other than you're building something that meets customer needs? You've analyzed the competition and you're seeing how it compares. You're understanding the strengths of your own company, and you're taking all of that and put it together into a plan of selling more product. Well, in order to do that, you need the consumer's help. So you're basically communicating your strategy to them, right? What is the product? How does it meet their needs? How does it compare to the competition? And how are you as a company uniquely positioned to satisfy those needs better than anybody else? That's basically your strategy. And when you do marketing to the outside world, you're marketing your strategy. And the way you market to the outside world, by the way, when you have a product, is you put it in terms of how your product is helping the person you're trying to market it to, right? You don't just say, hey, come buy my product. You say, hey, do you have this pain point? If you do, we have something that can help you. And if you're interested, come check us out. That's a whole different methodology than just kind of, blasting out, I have this thing and you should come and buy it from me because I want you to, right? No, of course you want to put it in terms of how it's going to help the consumer. So when you're marketing your strategy to the outside world, that's the way you do it. So I bring all of that up because when you're marketing to the inside world, inside your company, that is, it's the same exact thing. If you put on the calendar, hey, I want to do a monthly update meeting on my strategy, nobody cares. Nobody's going to come because nobody cares. But if you let people know that your strategy is helping them in some way, and there's any number of ways that it could do that, right? It could help the overall business, and therefore it should be something that they're interested in. It could affect the resources that they're managing, so that might be something there. It could be that you need their help, and you want to make sure that they understand what the context of that help is and how that help will ultimately help them. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do it. But ultimately, what I would say is make sure that whatever value your strategy is bringing to your colleagues and to the rest of the company, that's what you market to people. And that's what you update them on. And you do it the same way you would if you were marketing to the outside world. So if you want to have a meeting, make sure they understand how that meeting is going to benefit them. But there are other ways to do it as well. Like you could just have general updates by video or by email, the same way that we do the outside world as well, right? I mean, why not a newsletter? Like I have a newsletter to my mailing list that basically talks about resources and other things that will help my mailing list, the people on my mailing list. You could do the same thing for your strategy. Videos, right? Video resources, a podcast like you're listening to right now. The whole purpose of this podcast is to help people. And by helping people, I'm hoping you'll ultimately come to my company, right? And ask for further help. But what I'm doing is I'm giving you some value. I'm giving you some benefit so that you'll continue to tune in. And then maybe one day when you need strategy training, you're going to come to me. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do that. A blog, right? Every week we do a blog that goes along with this show. And same thing, right? I'm providing free information so that you will benefit from it, something that values you, something that's on your mind, hopefully that you'll come check out an answer to. And at the bottom of every one of those, and sometimes strewn throughout as well, there's going to be some links to things that could also help me, right? And help our company and the sponsor of the show and things of that nature. But it's of mutual benefit. But I guarantee you're not going to come to any of those things or read any of those things if there's no value in it for you. If it's just a billboard for me without showing how things are going to benefit you, you're not going to come. Same thing inside your company. So think about how you might market products. Think about some of these other marketing techniques that we've talked about, particularly the inbound marketing techniques that we've talked about on previous episodes. And if you read the blog, I'll go ahead and link to some of those episodes so you can see some of those specific tools. But it's basically the things that we talked about, right? Blogs, podcasts, videos, resources that will help update people on what's going on, but in a way that's going to benefit them ultimately. Do that inside your company. So if you're a new team, a small team, you have a strategy that's not on the radar, go ahead and use some of these techniques. But first, find what the value proposition of your strategy is for the people inside your company and promote that value proposition. That's going to make them want to listen. And if the ultimate goal is that they engage because you need them to engage in some way, which I'm assuming is what's going on, then that's the best way that you're going to be able to do that. Find the value proposition and get them to engage through that value proposition so they could ultimately help you as well. And then there's mutual benefit for everyone. So I hope that's a helpful answer. And if you've gained some insight from this and you're interested in asking a question to be featured on the show as well, please go visit us at dearstrategy.net or dearstrategy.com. They both work. And you can go ahead and go to the upper right-hand corner, click on Ask a Question, and they'll link you to a contact page where you can ask a question to be featured on the show. Also, go out to Strategy Generation Company at strategygeneration.com. You can click on subscribe to our newsletter. I think there's a button right there on the homepage, and you can get that newsletter that we were talking about. You'll see how we do it with our mailing list and send a newsletter out trying to give you resources that will add value to you so that hopefully you engage with us some point in the future and use those same types of techniques inside your company as well. So while you're doing all that, don't forget to make time for the plan, and we'll see you back here on another episode of Dear Strategy. Thanks again for joining.
Thank you for listening to Dear Strategy with Bob Caparelli. To learn more or to submit a question to be featured on our show, please visit us at dearstrategy.net.